Friends, relatives, strangers, and enemies, welcome to another episode of the Texas Conservative Channel, where we'll listen to some of Michael Moore's stupid shit. Just listen to the shit roll out of his mouth.
And I've got to be more pro-business. And that's when Clinton started the deregulation of Wall Street and the banks. That's when all those first, and his Secretary of Treasury, Mr. Larry Summers, started to put into place what eventually became, once Bush got into office, that he took what Clinton started, put steroids into it, and then we ended up with a crash of 08. So no, we hope that Obama, that's not the lesson that he's learned from this. I hope that the lesson to learn is to see the more liberal you were, if you were a member of Congress in last week's election, the more likely it was that you got reelected. The conservative Democrats, the majority of them.
And the more liberal you were, the more chance you had of losing your damn ass. There was liberal Democrats that ran for office all across the country and all across the nation, and they didn't make it.
He's afraid to even put it up in front of the people. Like, let's say some of these bills that he could push through the Senate right now, the Disabled Veterans Bill, the Elderly Abuse Act.
Who's against that?
Yeah, and if the Republicans have held this up in the Senate, these bills that have already been passed, make them filibuster.
But the Democrats hold the Senate. So what the hell is he talking about? Again, more stupid-ass talk from a heathen communist bastard.
Elderly people who are abuse victims. They don't want to help out these veterans. He's afraid for some reason to just call them on it. Because I'll tell you what, trust me, if the shoe was on the other foot, if there was a lame duck session that the Republicans had right now and they had a couple hundred bills, they'd be ramming those babies through every single day.
We'll be back with Michael Moore. Lots more to go. Don't go away.
Yeah, that's what Michael Moore wants to occur, folks. He wants Obama to try and push as much bullshit as he can before he loses his buddies in Congress. Michael Moore is one of the worst American citizens that there's ever been. Michael Moore fits into the category of Anwar al-Awlaki. He's an informational terrorist. Michael Moore can be considered a terrorist based on the fact that he's trying to destroy America. Michael Moore believes in handing out everybody's stuff. Michael Moore believes in socialism. And Michael Moore is not going to escape the scrutiny of the Texas Conservative Channel. You think for a moment, I'm going to let this piece of trash go on Larry King Live and talk his shit with me not say something? No, it's not going to happen. There is not a chance in hell, because this is part of the process, friends, relatives, strangers, and enemies, of leaving no stone unturned. This is part of the process, friends, relatives, strangers, and enemies, of leaving no bullshit unchallenged. And the bullshit that Barack Obama supporter Michael Moore is trying to feed you right now is that somehow that Barack Obama is helping the country. He won't get up here and say that Barack Obama was supported by Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac as a senator. He won't tell you that, because this is the process of spreading Democrat Party lies. When Michael Moore gets up here, he's trying to affect belief in the country as such that they will follow his lead. And he wants to help lead the country down a real crappy path. Like saying that all the liberal senators won. And there were liberal senators that tried to run for office and they got beat. Just like liberal incumbents. Anybody associated with Barack Obama and his health care bill went down, with the exception of a few idiots. So, let's listen to more of Michael Moore's heathen communist bullshit.
Still having mortgage and foreclosure problems. Michael dealt with this in his film Capitalism, a Love Story. In this clip, you'll hear from Congresswoman Marcy Kaptur. Watch.
Don't leave your home, because you know what? When those companies say they have your mortgage, unless you have a lawyer that can put his finger or her finger on that mortgage, you don't have that mortgage. And you're going to find they can't find the paper up there on Wall Street. So I say to the American people, You'll be squatters in your own homes. Don't you leave. In Ohio and Michigan and Indiana and Illinois and all these other places where our people are being treated like cattle. And this Congress is stymied.
Aren't a lot of people doing just that?
Yeah, some people are starting to do it, and they should do it, because the banks don't have the paper. They split it all up, they bundled it, they sold it off as securities. Pieces of paper all over the world. They don't know. They can't come into court with your mortgage. They can't come into court with your mortgage.
And guess who was responsible for all of those loans going out to people who couldn't afford to buy those houses? It's Barack Obama, Freddie Mae, and Freddie Mac, and the Democrat Party, with people like this idiot, Michael Moore.
Rural members of Congress from a hard-hit place, Toledo, Ohio, and yet she won by an overwhelming margin again in Toledo. The Democrats have got to start, again.
You're telling people don't.
The Democrats have got to start getting away from people like communist heathen Michael Moore.
These banks are evicting people. They're not being given the break or the chance. First of all, many of them were sold fraudulent mortgages. And the FBI has come out and said that 80% of the mortgage fraud that has taken place during this crisis was committed by the banks, not the people
What's
who were
a fraudulent mortgage?
Well, they sell these mortgages to people who they
can sell.
They sell the mortgages. They give out credit to people who shouldn't have it. Idiot, that sumbitch.
Has gone to jail for this. Is they knew that they were selling homes to people that probably couldn't afford those homes in many cases. Okay. And they were selling them at inflated prices. These homes now have to come back down to probably closer to what they were actually worth. The whole market was out of control. But the banks, here's the thing, where the banks knew that there would be all of this foreclosing going on.
And of course, Barack Obama and the Democrat Party knew, friends, relatives, strangers, and enemies, and it's my job to point this crap out. Now, there's no question that Michael Moore is partially behind all this shit. It's people like Michael Moore that's bringing down this country.
And they made money on it. That is so absolutely. If a casino did that, I mean, they'd be brought in on charges.
We'll get into other areas of politics. Bob Woodward wrote in his latest book that Obama could switch from Biden to Hillary, make them switch jobs. You buy that?
Well, it can happen. I mean, I don't think it needs to happen, but I think his problems are bigger in terms of if he wants to.
What I think needs to happen is Michael Moore needs to take Joe Biden's place and run with Barack Obama, so that make it even less chance of the Democrats winning again the presidency.
How are we going to create jobs? What are we going to do? It's the only thing that's going to turn this economy around when people have middle-class jobs where they're making good money and they can survive.
The writer and economist Ben Stein is a frequent guest, and one thing about Ben is you never know where he's going to go politically. He thinks that nobody has the answer to the jobs question.
Nobody. But all you got to do is cut tax rates for businesses. Businesses hire people. If you cut tax rates for businesses, you're not making them hire people, but they're much more likely to do it. And as long as America keeps listening to people like Barack Obama, Al Franken, and Joe Biden, and Michael Moore, we're no more going to be down that path and a grasshopper crossing the highway. Friends, relatives, strangers, and enemies, come catch the next episode of the Texas Conservative Channel, where I keep up with these idiots just for you.